Can there truly be peace? We seem to be edging closer and closer to civil war inside the United States. We have people out there openly threatening the government, and they're in the government. This is serious. We got a lot of things we need to talk about. We need to talk about out of control judges. We need to talk about student loan delinquencies, which is basically the people kind of choosing not to respect or to follow the government's lead. We got the hate Trump no matter what people, and we got Congress people who are having some serious issues with the Trump administration. Friends, we got a lot to talk about, and some of this is really serious stuff. So hopefully you'll hang around till the end. We got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are the things the mainstream media just doesn't want you to know. All right, first off, we have Hannah Dugan, the Wisconsin judge who hid a person who was supposed to be arrested by ICE for potential deportation. She hid this individual from arrest, and a grand jury has now just come back with a verdict that that she is to be indicted for several potential felonies, concealing an individual to prevent arrest, and obstructing or impeding a proceeding. Now, these are serious charges. If she gets convicted of both, this could be 6 years in prison for a Wisconsin judge. If we don't start making criminal actions across the United States, if she gets off with a slap on the wrist, what will that do to embolden everyone else? If a judge doesn't have to abide by the law, then who does? That's a serious question that we have out there. Concerning not just judges, but individuals. Over the last number of years, we've had a lot of people with student loan debts who haven't been paying it back. Now, they've borrowed the money. They chose to enter into this arrangement. I'm not saying this is an easy situation. I'm not saying this is where these people are somehow necessarily bad people, but all the student loans have been guaranteed by the federal government now. So the federal government has given these people loans or has taken over the loans, and now we, the people, are on the hook if people don't pay those loans back. Now, for the last number of years, payments haven't been required for a lot of these loans. A lot of these loans have had $0 required payments each month, and yet we still have a large proportion of people with student loans in delinquency. This is how bad it is. In some states in the United States, particularly down in the south of the United States, 30% or more of the people with student loans are delinquent. 30% or more. In a lot of these cases, these people have just gotten into their head that these are going to be forgiven anyway, so why make payments? That's a serious problem. We're starting to see that implementation of credit scores. So these agencies, the government agency is reporting these delinquencies to credit reporting agencies, and that is causing some serious credit score changes. Not only that, but more than 25% of people 40 years old or older who have student loans up, more than 25% of them are delinquent. So 40-year-olds up, if they have student loans, 25% of them, 1 in 4, are delinquent. That's how bad this has become. It's become a massive welfare handout in the eyes of a lot of people. And that's not how a loan works. A loan works is you get money and then you pay it back. Not you get money and then you get to keep the money. And a lot of people are under this misconception, and that needs to be set straight. We're talking about $63 billion per year, just if these people on student loans start making their payments. That's how much is going to be sucked out of our economy. If you think that the economy is teetering on the edge right now, you just wait until $63 billion that would have gone spent on sneakers or whatever else now goes to just paying for student loans itself. I've told you that cutting the federal waste and student loans repayment, this is going to suck money out of the financial system. This is going to suck money out of the stores and the businesses in your community. There's going to be short-term pain. Anyone who's telling you that everything is going to be hunky-dory, we're in the moment where things are not as bad as the mainstream media told it was going to be because of tariffs and other things, but there's going to be consequences to these actions, and we're going to feel those consequences. Now, are they the consequences of those actions, or are they consequences of the actions before? Nationalizing all the student loan debt, that seems to be the thing that we're really going to be paying for. This should never have been federalized in the first place. Should have continued to have schools and private loan companies and banks issuing these student loans. And they shouldn't have been issuing them to people getting degrees that could never pay them back. I'm sorry, but if you're getting a $200,000 loan out in order to study gender studies or something like that, I think at a bank or a private business, there would be questions asked and saying, well, we can give you that loan, but you have to study engineering or go to med school or get something useful so that you can actually pay the loan back, right? Businesses would probably ask some of those questions, especially if they're losing a whole bunch of money, but not the federal government. The federal government is about just handing out shovelfuls of money, and that really needs to change. And it's not just judges, it's not just people on student loans, but we have government workers who are openly rebelling against the government. We have the Library of Congress, right? And they had their boss, the librarian, the chief librarian, was fired. She was a woke warrior, let's just put it that way. Carla Hayden, fired for gross insubordination and just absolute ridiculous stuff. She was fired. President Trump has appointed her successor, Todd Blanche, and Todd Blanche is now the librarian, the temporary, the acting librarian over the Library of Congress. So he shows up with a few people to the Library of Congress to take over. And they locked him out of the building, refused to let him in the building. When they tried to get in the building, the workers inside the Library of Congress called the Capitol Police to have them removed. Which, who's in charge of this thing? And they're saying that the executive branch is not in charge of the Library of Congress, which, if you listen to the name, you might be under that illusion, right? But that's not how it works. No, it's part of the executive branch. The executive branch has direct authority over the Library of Congress. So it doesn't matter how you feel about this. It doesn't matter if you're a federal worker and you're like, I feel like Congress is in charge of the Library of Congress. Well, that's an interesting feeling, and you can go tell your therapist about that, but you can't launch an insurrection and a rebellion against the federal government, which you work for. That's, let's see here, it starts with a T. Treason. That's what it is. It's called treason. If you're a federal officer, if you are a federal government employee, and you are openly revolting against the government of the United States, I don't see how the word treason doesn't apply to you. Now, they may think it's cute to lock the doors of the Library of Congress. They may think it's cute to call Capitol Police. But in the end, this is not cute at all. These people should lose their jobs at the minimum. They should lose their jobs at the minimum, and if not even more than that. They should be hit with criminal charges. Now, we just had this incident this past weekend where the mayor of Newark and 3 Congress people decided that it would be a cool idea to protest outside of an ICE facility and try to force their way inside the ICE facility. Now, you can't do that. Now, there's a way for them to do that, to go in there and inspect, but you can't just barge in the front door and push your way past officers and assault federal officers. You can't do that, no. And that's why the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested, but 3 Congress people also arrested. Now, AOC is out there. She's the de facto head of the Democratic Party because Nancy Pelosi is too busy, trading stocks, front-running stocks. And Schumer, I mean, who is Chuck Schumer anymore? Who else is in charge of the Democratic Party? AOC seems to be. Well, she's out there telling President Trump that if he arrests any more Democratic Congresspeople, he is going to have a problem. I know AOC is the greatest wordsmith since Kamala Harris. Okay, so President Trump is going to have a problem if he arrests any more Democratic Congresspeople for breaking the law. But aren't these the same Congresspeople that told us that nobody is above the law? Nobody is above the law? These are literally the exact same people. So, sorry, but we're going to hold you to your own standard. You said nobody is above the law, and we're gonna carry that out. And this is where things need to go. People who are breaking the law need to go to jail. Then they need to get prosecuted. They need to then go to prison. They need to either get deported or go to prison. A nation of lawbreakers who do not deal with the lawbreakers is not a nation at all. A nation without borders is not a nation at all. AOC has been out there actively helping and advocating for people to break the law, to evade arrest, to evade capture, when there are warrants out for their arrest. I'm sorry, but it's hard not to see that as criminal action, criminal intent. These people, whether they're in Congress or on the street or in a courtroom, they cannot be allowed to just openly break laws and have no consequences. Nobody is above the law. And I think that everyone kind of agreed with that when they were going after President Trump. They just saw these as political prosecutions. The fact is that a grand jury has indicted the judge in Wisconsin. I don't recall any indictments against President Trump at the federal level, right? No grand jury convened and indicted him. The indictments were local, from my understanding, and a local court found him guilty of different things. That's on appeal right now. So we'll see if that gets overturned, that prosecution, that political prosecution, which was absolutely insane. The idea that nobody was actually a victim of this crime, and even the banks who were victims of the crime all saying they didn't lose any money, and that they were satisfied with the situation and how it played out. That you have these federal prosecutors local prosecutors who are just conjuring things up out of the middle of nowhere. So, where do we go from here? We need to hold people accountable. And the FBI needs to make arrests. The FBI arrested this judge, and ICE, federal officers, did arrest the Congress people, and rightfully so. And if this continues, if more of this happens, more arrests should follow. Now, if you're a government official, I think that there should be we should be slow to arrest people who are in office. There should be absolutely an airtight case against them. They need to be on video doing something. And if they're protesting, if they're saying things, I don't think that we should prosecute them over those type things unless they're actively inciting people to violate the law or to violence or something like that. It should be egregious, and it should be very clear. We should be careful about arresting elected officials, but we should not arrest federal officials, even if, especially if it's violence that they're committing when they're attacking officers. These people who went to the ICE detention center were more violent than the people that went into the Capitol building. Let that one sink in for a moment there. Think about that. All right, friends, we're going to keep you updated on some of these things, but we're going to need to see some changes out here, and I think President Trump is the man to do it. It's going to be a hard road, but he is surrounded by people who have seen what has happened to people on our side, or any side other than the side of the woke tyrants. That's really what they are, woke tyrants. And we need to make sure that they never get back into power in a place where they can arrest their political opponents ever again. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.